In this modelling workshop for Magazine 7, we're delving into creating barriers for our battle games. In this video we'll explore 3 different methods: paper fence, wooden fence and MDF fence. First up, the simplest form, the paper fence. I've designed printable A4 sheets that double as cutting guides. I'm using thick card rather than cardboard. Carefully cut out all the pieces from the printable sheet and card. Remember, we only need one side for each post and fence rail, since we'll stick paper to the front and back. I'm using a glue stick to attach the paper to the card. It's quick, easy and dries fast. To attach the post to the base, I'm using super glue and a spray accelerator to speed up drying. This method is more than enough to securely hold the posts. For the rails, use superglue and the spray accelerator as well. These barriers come together quickly once all the cutting is done. If you need quick, throwaway barriers, these are a great option. Next, we'll tackle the wooden fence. I take a couple of different sized wooden sticks and split the larger ones down the middle with a craft knife. Once scored down the middle, they snap in half easily. To give a more rustic and hewn look, I shave off the sharp edges with a craft knife. For the post, I cut the smaller stick into roughly 2.5 cm lengths. Using the same process as the rails, I split each piece down the middle and roughen up the edges. I use a foam board template from the paper fence to create a guide. To achieve a more natural look, I cut the edges at an angle and give the top the same treatment to create a more natural feel to the ground. I picked up a pot of brown paint from the discount area at a local DIY shop. It has a deep brown colour and a nice matte finish. Much better than using expensive model paints. Just coat the base in whatever colour you like, and once it's dry, use a light grey to dry brush the base. This picks up all the edges and gives a nice highlight. Once the base is ready, stick everything together using super glue and accelerator, starting off with the posts. To bring extra detail to the base, apply Mod Podge in a random pattern and sprinkle sawdust flock on top. Let it sit for a few minutes to allow the glue to soak into the sawdust. Then turn it upside down and give it a few taps to create a nice looking base. Attach the beams in the same way as the posts. To paint the fence, I'm using Model Layer Mahogany. When applied with an airbrush, it gives a nice uneven finish, making the wood appear more natural. You can achieve the same effect by applying with a brush and watering down the paint to create a wash. Keep layering the paint until you are happy with the final colour. Wood exposed to the elements tends to go greyish, so apply a light dry brushing with grey to give it a more weathered look. As an optional extra, add grass tufts for added realism. Finally, let's make an MDF fence using a laser cutter to create templates from 2mm plywood. I've designed templates for printing out and building fences. The design allows for easy cutout and clicking together assembly from 2mm plywood. Apply superglue to each fence post and stick them into the cutout holes. For the crossbeams, use the longer pieces of wood and attach them with superglue. Use a simple basing technique by applying Mod Podge to the base and sprinkle real dirt, dried, from my garden, all over it. I dug up some dirt from my backyard and I dried it in the oven. I'm using Model Air Burnt Umber, which doesn't cover perfectly like paint but acts more like a stain, giving the wood a great worn weather effect. When you apply a second coat, it adds depth and variation to the colour. Once it's dry, apply more Mod Podge for the static grass, using an applicator if you have one. If not, flock works well. Many thanks as always to my patrons. If you want any of the files from this and all my other videos, consider supporting the channel. Which method is your favourite? Each has its benefits. My personal favourite is the wooden fence, but the paper fence is perfect for quick barriers. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.